And I always tell this story about teamwork and picking up your teammates. I was a first baseman when I got a little bit up in age, when I was, 10, 11, 12, I played first. And I remember when they started to keep score and they started to keep stats, my dad would keep the book. And I would play first, and then my teammate would throw the ball to me. And let's say it was rolling on the ground or it wasn't the best throw. And if I couldn't get it, I remember looking over at my dad, and my dad would point at me and he'd go, E3, like error on the first baseman, error, my error. And after the game, Lauren, I was like, Dad, come on, that ball was rolling behind me. And he looked at me and he said, you pick up your teammates and they'll pick you up. And that's just like life, right? He was teaching something far greater than the game. He was teaching about teamwork and about, caring about one another. And so that was kind of my first experience in picking up your teammates. And I carry that. I think about that, Lauren, I think about that situation once a month, just in life. But I remember being a young girl, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, and looking up to the next, the great female players. And then I remember getting into high school and watching Jenny Finch with her long blonde hair and her pink bow and throwing a billion and striking out everyone in her path. And I remember thinking, I want to be that. I want to be there. I never got there, but I had dreams, right? And that representation, seeing is believing, knowing that you can play in that sport, in that space matters. I always say everyone's different. Every strength is different. And you can emulate your swing after the best in the world. But maybe that's not your swing, right? So the coach's job is to get that out of these girls. And I feel like when I talk to the girls, try and look at their strengths and build on their individual strengths. The banter, the funny chemistry. Robert is this quick-witted, smart, sarcastic, dry personality. And Mark is this 16-year major league veteran with a personality for days who does more homework than any analyst I've ever known. So it's like this, and I come at it from, I played baseball my whole life, played softball my whole life. I know the sport in and out, but I also like to ask the questions that my mom would want to know or that the casual fan would want to know. And we do that. I've spoke with Susan Waldman a lot, the voice of the New York Yankees on the radio, and she has gone through so much. And I always say, you went through it so we didn't have to, kind of thing. She paved the way for the next generation. There's so many women like that who dealt with a little bit more adversity than, say, my generation did. They would go in clubhouses, they would go in locker rooms, they weren't welcome, all that kind of stuff, right? But they endured it, and now we endure so much less. I have been met with the kindest, most wonderful men in this game, and I owe it to because they're all wonderful people, but also there is the class that came before, right? That kind of paved the way, and they didn't have anyone to see, to believe, but we do, and we're thankful for that. Be a yes person, number one. I always say be a yes person. So what I mean by that is if I say, Lauren, can you make this happen at this day? Yes. My initial reaction is, yes, let's figure out a way. Instead of, I don't think so. No one wants to deal with no people. Yes, person. Number one. Number two, work hard. If you work harder than everybody around you, then you're going to find a spot. And number three, I always feel like my first news director, Jim Olson, his name was, and he gave me this advice: appear on air, appear like a duck, calm on the surface, struggling like heck underneath. So if there's chaos in your ear and there's a guest coming and the show is complete chaos, the more you smile, calm down, you'll get through it. I found that to be helpful in my broadcasting career. So those are probably the three pieces of advice.